some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. In sympathy.
Evening, everybody. The Wednesday show is back with Kenny Ken, as always, the legend that is. But we have a new guest tonight, Aaron Knowles. Mate, welcome aboard. I'm sure you'll be a regular guest. And how's things, bro? Aaron, how you doing?
All good, mate. Yeah, no, absolute pleasure. Thanks for the invite. It's been all right today. I've starting day one of 6 days off in a row. So sort of been sat around 7 a.m. Kids woke me up, jumping on me. Obviously, they're all off. Yeah, so I've sort of been waiting for it. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to chatting with you boys about some football. Yeah.
Top man.
Yeah.
Anthony, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yes, I'm all right. I'm hanging on in there. I got to be honest with you. I love that intro, and what makes that intro even better is that goal from Dennis Bergkamp. I got to say it. I see it. I dance on. I don't know if you see me nodding my head when the intro's on, like but he's good.
Mama won't like that, mate.
Sorry, Mama, you're a superstar, Geordie, but I mean it's a great goal, isn't it? Sorry, mate.
You won't like that. Kenny, mate, how you doing, bro?
I'm all good, It's been a couple of busy days, watching the Spurs, try to snatch. Basically, they snatched a draw out of from the jaws of victory. I don't know how they did it. Also, I did a show with yourself on Monday. I did one with Dan yesterday. Annie Gell, that was good. That was good fun. The ugly discussion of Emery and Arteta rose this ugly head. But we've got to talk about football as well. So it's still things that are in the pipeline for Arsenal. Incomings and outgoings. Hopefully,
we're going to talk about that.
But I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm hearing that Mikel's been offered an improved contract.
That's what I was going to start with. That, mate, is what I'm going to start with. I saw this a bit late. Now, apparently, Arteta is to sign a new improved contract, right? I wonder why. Why? What's he done? What's he won? We'll find out a bit of. I'm going to come to our newest guest today on this one. First off, Aaron Arteta, better manager. Apparently, certain YouTuber makes out that he's a better manager than Emery. I don't see it myself, but improved contract, mate. Why? I don't understand it.
Well, I don't really know. I know everyone will obviously jump straight to the fact that he won an FA Cup within his first 6 months. But again, the counter argument say, it's with Emery's team, blah, blah, blah. To be fair with that, I sort of don't really sort of care so much about who's sort of better. All I really care is about the fact that we ain't winning anything. And the real problem sort of is why are we rewarding a geezer who hasn't won anything in 4.5, 5 years? Surely he's got to prove it. What happened to them days? I mean, I know football sort of moved on with everything, but why are we sort of giving this geezer an improved contract? What's it going to be, 2-3 years? He's probably the figures are going to be astronomical. I've sort of heard that's around close to Pep Guardiola's going to be on. I mean, come on, the geezers don't deserve anything like that yet. He's not really done anything. He's not proved anything. Couple of second place finishes, yeah. I mean, I'd rather first. Who wouldn't? But it's not for me. I think he's got to lift something. I'm sick and tired of us not lifting any silverware, like all of us in this panel, like all of us in the chat, we're Arsenal fans, obviously, in particularly. We want to see armpits. We want to see silver. For me, it's no silver, no job. He shouldn't be rewarded it. This should be a thing at the end of the season. If he loves Arsenal like he claims he is, he'll wait to the end of the season. What does he need to sign it for now?
True, mate. Yeah. Very true. Good point. Aces says enjoyed Kenny King cooking at Egao last night on Dan Potts' channel. I haven't seen that. I will go and have a look at that later. I'll have a look at that later. Anthony, man, improved contract for the fraud. You know, hasn't won anything since the FA Cup 5 years ago. Improved contract, mate. Second, that's an achievement. Why? Don't get it.
For what? Absolutely for what? I'm glad you actually said this because I'm going to get something off my chest now. Approved in contracts for Mikel Arteta. He's like what Aaron said down here. He's going to be on the same money, roughly as Pep in wages. I didn't get it. Let's cast our mind back to when he first took the Arsenal job. I didn't want him. I was actually when I saw it on Sky Sports News, it was like I felt so down when he was appointed the new manager. But you know, you touched on it about winning the FA Cup. Let's hit the nail on the head when he won the FA Cup. 20% of that team was Unai Emery's. 80% of that team was still Arsene Wenger's players as well. We had Cole Jenkinson right back, Mustafi in centre back. The list is endless, right? Congratulations, Mikel Arteta. You win a trophy with that squad. Now let's fast forward till now to this present stream. Yeah, you spent 820 million, got your own team. What have you won? What have you won? And you want a new contract? You've got to win trophies. I'll tell you something now. This contract is the worst thing that can happen in the history of Arsenal Football Club if he doesn't deliver anything this season. My opinion is, if I was the Arsenal owner, if I was Mr. Kroenke, I'd be saying, if you want a new contract, you do not jeopardise any of the trophies unless we win the big one, which I want the Premier League. If that don't happen, as soon as we're out the Carabao Cup, as soon as he throws the FA Cup away in the bin, because like this is what he's going to be doing, right? I'll tell you something now. If I was Stan Kroenke, I'll be there. I'll be sacking him. I'll say, right, you pack your desk out. Edu, you can go with him. You're gone. Oh, and by the way, here's your dog. Yeah, and honestly, I'm fed up with this guy. Right, the one signing that we have signed, cauliflower, right? Bargain, 75p in Lidl's. That is amazing, right? So we've bought him. Now we're after this Spanish midfielder, Marino, right? Cast your minds back. I think Kenny will remember this. Going back 3 seasons ago, we wasted a whole January transfer window trying to sign Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa. It's the same happening with this player. Exactly the same. I tell you something now. If I was the Arsenal manager and I couldn't get that deal done within a week, I would have thrown the deal away. I would have went on to someone else. Next. Couldn't sign that one. Next. Whatever. It's like what I said. This player is taking too long to get over the line. I mean, what is he now? It started off with 17 million. He's now raised to what? 25 million with add-ons? 30 million at the most? Why is it so hard to sign a £30 million player when you're the manager of Arsenal Football Club? Let's be honest.
8 days to go to the window.
Mate, most of relationships in my family don't even last as long as our interest in Mourinho. I don't really have a clue what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? It's madness.
Exactly. It's a joke. It's a joke. I'm fed up with. I'm fed up now. It makes me not want to watch any Arsenal games. I'll be honest with you. And if I don't watch any Arsenal games and I come on a show, what can I talk about? Because I haven't seen the game. But this is how this manager is making me feel.
There's always stuff to talk about with Arsenal, mate. It's the gift that keeps on giving. But Kenny, Emery says, here, you want the result, but ignore the process. The world doesn't work like that. 8th, 5th, 2nd. It's logical to expect first. So is that the reason that they're giving him a new contract, Kenny?
No, they're giving him a new contract because the fact is that the fans like him. We, for some reason, we seem to be like the silent. We seem to be like the vocal minority because last season, I was abroad, so I missed the last game of the season, and I thought we won the league. I
Yeah,
generally thought we won the league. With the reaction of some of the fans, especially the high-profile fans, I thought we won the league. The approval ratings for Mick Arteta are so high that, you know, they even have doubters like us believing it because, like you guys, I think, well, what's he won? I don't think that people seem to grasp that, that we have misgivings because of the fact that he hasn't won any trophies. And that every season we set him a task of winning trophies, and every season he comes up, and all we get for our troubles that he's made, that we've received progress, that he's making progress. We're now a club to be feared, and that he's basically changed the club, changed our style, overhauled our style of play. We're now ready to compete for trophies. But they'll say that last season, the season before that, and the season before that, and they're even. Especially since we finished fifth, that's what's been said. Now we can kick on. We've got probably some of the best young players in the country. We're playing some of the best football in the country. But what's he won? But again, as long as you've got people like the main channels going abroad, interviewing him, being allowed into the circle of trust, and you've got journalists as well being into the circle of trust. And they're going on their Twitters and their Instagrams, showing everyone, recording themselves, asking the manager a question. Because you only get to ask that one question, but that one question that they get to ask is worth probably a 2-year salary for them, because it opens a lot of doors for them. And then what happens is that the clubs see people like the fan channels who back at Kel and said, right, that's it. He's got a high approval rating. Mikel's basically got the job because, one, there's a majority of fans who still think he's a good job. One, the majority of fans are backing him. And they generally are happy with him because last couple of years, we've got Champions League football. That's where it is. Champions League football. So basically, in their minds, he's won a league of its own. There's 2 leagues in their minds, not in our minds. There's only 1 league, but in their minds, there's Man City and then the rest. So he's won a title of the next 19 clubs. So he's finished first out of 19, not first out of 20. So because he's finished first out of 19, let's give him a new contract. That's where it is. They think there's nothing. Yeah, but they think they don't think anything's wrong. The fact that he's getting he's challenged for the league. He's saying, well, I don't know what these guys want. They're actually challenging, and this is what these dissenters want. They wanted us to keep challenging, so we're challenging, so we're doing something right. And now they say, well, they're not happy with that. They want trophies. And if he wins the FA Cup, oh no, we're going to win the league. That's how they're going to position us in that kind of, they're never happy league. We're not. We just want dissension. We don't want everyone to get along, i.e., the get along gang. And that's the thing. Ultimately, he's qualified for the Champions League in his 2 consecutive seasons. They expect him to do it again. As far as they're concerned, when it comes to like the money men are happy with that. That's what they're happy with. They don't want silverware. They want Champions League football. They'll be happy with the league. They'll be happy with the FA Cup. They'll take that all day long. But ultimately, he's got Arsenal back in the Champions League. Hence the fact he's getting a new contract, and he's going to get Pep's money. I mean, one guy in Lee's comments, when I said that Newcastle hadn't won anything, he says, "Oh, what's Ken on about? He needs to give his head a wobble. Newcastle got in the top 4." Says it all now. That's the mentality. There's still fans who believe Arsene Wenger's BS that the top 4 is a trophy. The club think the top 4 is a trophy.
Never will be.
There's a question here for us from Joseph. Question to the panel. Do you think Villa game Saturday will show us if we can win the league or not? Aaron, what do you think, mate? Big game. It's a massive game.
Look, it is a big game. And do you know what? To be fair, I reckon the result pretty much hinges on one position, really. And no one's going to be surprised that's going to be left back. Look, we've all seen what Zinchenko does against tricky wingers or pacey wingers, players basically like your Leon Baileys, your Watkins. He'll get ripped to shreds if he starts. They'll absolutely tear him to shreds. It'd be like some zombie apocalypse. You know, there's going to be little Ukrainian limbs flying all over the place if he starts. Honestly, like it's going to be embarrassing. I just sort of hope, and Kenny Ken might not agree with me because I know his sort of stance on the Timber with the left back, but I actually would start him there only specifically for today's game because I just think Zinchenko's such a horses for courses player, and you know this ain't your race, mate. I reckon he will get destroyed down that left-hand side, and I reckon that's maybe why Arteta's thinking was to bring on Timber. What was it, for 20, 30 sort of minutes against Wolves on Saturday? I reckon he just wants to just get their minutes sort of in. And it'd be the smart move, I think, to start him. Absolutely. What do you reckon, Ken?
My situation with Timber is that, yeah, I think Zinchenko was so bad, but he wasn't the only one who was awful. You know, Thomas Partey struggled. Declan Rice was bad, very bad. And Saka, if you take away the two goal involvements, excellent as they are, he struggled a bit. There's no surprise he was substituted with 11 minutes to go. But they're all getting sort of ring rust from the Euros. But in terms of like Timber playing at left back, don't get me wrong, he'll do a fantastic job for us. But it's not that I don't think Timber's good enough. I know he is, but I've always pictured Timber as basically the sort of player that is going to be challenging and eventually taking Benjamin White's shirt, because I do think potentially he'd be a better option for us moving forward than Ben White at right back. Now, Ben White's done a fantastic job for us, but I just think potentially we can get this guy fit, and the fact that we signed a player who plays at centre half and can play at right back, I think that's the man. If you think Benjamin White is doing a good job for us, I think this guy will make you forget about Benjamin White. I think he'll do a fantastic job. The only reason why we talk about Timber at left back, obviously, just covering there, because if Zinchenko were injured in pre-season, he might have started, and we may not have got to look at that option at Timber at right back. But
Calafiori might not be up to scratch yet either.
Definitely, yeah. I think Calafiori's not ready. I don't think it's anything to do with his place in the Champions League. I just think he's now starting to play.
Doesn't he play on the right? Doesn't Calafiori play on the right?
He plays left, but he prefers to play centre half, which means he's really after Gabriel's position, to be honest. But in terms of the right back, the left back situation, obviously, it's no brainers. Villa, very, very strong in the wings. Full that, Bailey, he isn't express pace, but he's got quick feet, and he likes to get inside and create havoc. And he likes to have, the right backs running off him and creating that overload. And he's very good at doing that when he cuts in. So that's where Zinchenko, you just played the triangle ball. Zinchenko just goes, oh no, what's going on? And then
he don't like runs at him.
He doesn't like it all. Yeah. You think about the goals that we conceded against Liverpool. Always down Zinchenko's side, didn't it? Diagonal ball, nuts, and then Salah just go boom, boom. I'm going to score now. You know what I mean? So I think he probably will start him. But
we've seen that. We saw that in numerous games. They're pressurised with Zinchenko down there because, hey, how many times last season did we see Zinchenko out of position? And we've ended up with 3 at the back. That means that Gabriel's got dragged across to cover. That exposes us in the centre. Yeah, as you quite rightly said, Liverpool that cost us. That cost us
twice.
Man. Yeah,
twice.
Quickly, whilst I'm just going to come to Anthony, smash the lights up, people. There's 74 in the building. It's free to smash the lights up. It's free to subscribe. Costs you nothing. Danny, man, thank you very much for your super sticker. €50, man. You're a top fella, man. Thank you very much indeed for that. Anthony, big game, Villa this weekend. Second game of the season, and I'm sitting here saying it's a big game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a tough day out of Villa Park. We've never really been that great there in history. I mean, how do you see it going, bro?
Well, you hit the nail on the head by saying it's a tough game at Villa Park, but what makes it more tougher is our ex-manager, Emery, because our record against him is very poor. So, they've done us twice last season. Let's not forget, last season that was the game that cost us the Premier League when he tinkered with the side, Mikel Arteta.
Yep.
I hope, because it's against Villa this time, I hope he doesn't tinker with that side. Seriously, I hope he don't. He's got to play. I'll say the same players, but take Shevchenko out the bloody equation, and then let's put in Calafiori. Let's put him in and see what he's got to offer, because it might improve this left-hand side, in left back. Also, it might improve a certain Martinelli. Now, I know Martinelli hasn't been great all last season. I know he hasn't been great. He's you said it, I said it, Jez. It seems like he's lost a yard of pace. He's always playing with his head down. He doesn't seem to look for players that's running into the box, let's say, to get a cross or a pass in. So he's I don't think he's in the right frame of mind, Martinelli. He's gone down in my estimation. But with a different left back there, it might be a little bit improvement for him. So
when he had Tierney along that left flank, they used to overlap each other and it worked brilliantly. Didn't they?
Yeah.
Tierney would overlap him, get right down deep. Yeah. Martinelli would go into the box. Tierney would make probably at the time the best crosser we had.
Yeah.
On the park. And now obviously we've got Rice now, and I have to say Saka's crossing has improved a bit, but maybe you're right on that one. Maybe I don't know. Timber, I think, would be when I saw Timber come on the other day, I was very impressed with him.
Yeah. But it's like what I said, we become predictable last season because the majority of our attacking was down on with the right. Because you've got the right hand side with Saka and Ben White, you've got that right side sorted. Then you have Martinelli out there. I said he was like a lost soul out there. There was nothing going on out there because it's like what we just said. And with Kieran Tierney, it was the overlapping, which made Martinelli go into the box, and vice versa. So they was like, they were doing both the right jobs. But he's getting that left back. Maybe it's like what we said, put Timber there, or maybe put Calafiori there. I mean, Calafiori is our new player. Timber, technically, roughly, is our new player this season as well, because we didn't see him at all last season, apart from the last 15 minutes of the game, or last game of the season. So, in all fairness, any one of them two at left back, and let's see how we do. If Zinchenko's playing there at left back, I'm going to be honest with you now, we ain't winning. We ain't winning that game.
Yeah,
because that is where the gap. It's like what you said. Gabriel then comes over. Then you've got Saliba that comes over into Gabriel's position, and then we used to have Thomas Partey coming back into the centre back because Zinchenko going out inverted into the midfield. He's struggling getting back. So what that's done, that's opened a massive gap in the middle of the pitch, and that was where we were conceding goals. Was from down that left hand side and also in the middle. So if we can see it, surely Mikel Arteta can see this. And now he's got to produce the goods coming this weekend. Because it's like what you said, Jez, he's not going to be a walk in the park against Aston Villa. Definitely not.
Not a Villa Park, man. They did us twice last year. So I was looking today over history. I mean, we've never had a massively good record at Villa Park. We haven't. So, and Emery, let's be fair. Let's talk about this one, right? Let's talk about this because I just find this fascinating. Interview of the Yard Man at the weekend. Certain interviewer, Kenny, come to you first. Certain interviewer makes out that Arteta is better than Emery. Now, making rash statements like that can make you a bit stupid because the man, Emery, has won 4 European League titles, Europa League titles, beg your pardon, domestic stuff, right? Now, he got us to a Europa League final, but the team didn't turn up. We were crap. Got embarrassed by Chelsea, right? His team, right, was the team that won the FA Cup, basically.
Mm.
Let's put that on the table before we go getting carried away. Yeah. Mate, you can't. I mean, how, Kenny, please?
Mm.
I mean, you've worked with these people, right? Yeah, back in the day.
That you know when they say you can't put the genie back in the bottle, that is one genie I'll let put back in the bottle. Or,
yeah, I know.
But I like to turn the clock back on. Yeah,
take that out. I don't
carry
want to
on.
But the fact remains, you just don't make statements like that. And the other thing, Kenny, part 2 of that question, and I'll go to Aaron and I'm going to go to Anthony as well on this one, right? Yeah. Arteta is better than Emery, and nobody can beat Pep Guardiola. Well, I disagree with that because Liverpool did. But Kenny, give us your view, man.
Well, first and foremost, this guy, you got to remember the person you're dealing with. For a start, he's not a professional. He's unprofessional. He's become very unprofessional. And he's interviewing Tini for a good few years now, and he's got worse and worse. And it coincides with the fact that his channel has now got closer links with a football club, and for me, they were approved a channel where from what we've seen, they're now doing interviews with the football club, especially the manager. You know, they've managed to do a few had a few photo opportunities if they do. You know, they even getting the players on. And they're allowed to use player interviews on their channel. So any dissent towards a manager is not going to be tolerated. You know, the interviewer was going on like he was Piers Morgan's brother for another mother. Because if you look at Piers Morgan's TV show, that's exactly the thing. If Piers Morgan doesn't agree with you, especially when he has a big stance on things. And I won't talk about the stances are, but there's 2 massive stances he's had over the last 4 or 5 years, and one major one he has now. If he doesn't agree with you, he talks over you. He'll tell you that what you're saying is a lot of BS, and then he'll try and change your mind. And the interview will last, depending if he's not satisfied with what you've got to say. And if he's not satisfied with what you've got to say, the interview lasts longer and longer. Normally, on that channel, the interview is about 4 or 5 minutes tops. Let's say 6 minutes. That interview was 30 minutes. The reason why that interview was 30 minutes is because he didn't like a point that was made by the guy he interviewed. He tried to get that guy to change his mind. He was trying to accuse the guy of not listening to him. The guy was saying, well, you're not listening to him. And he still made the point and even questioned the interviewer's loyalty by saying, I'm going to, what do you stand for? He's basically saying, what do you stand for now? Do you want to win trophies or not? And the interviewer didn't like that. So basically, maybe the interviewer should stop interviewing people and let the other guy do it, who's a better interviewer than him, doesn't give his own opinion and actually gives people a chance to have their say and doesn't create pylons on the guests. But the fact is, if the minute you praise Unai Emery in any capacity is a problem for a lot of Arsenal fans. The minute you praise Ancelotti, it's a problem for a lot of Arsenal fans. A lot of Arsenal fans think Ancelotti is a rubbish manager because he one season at Everton, he didn't win anything and he finished 9th. They seem to forget when he finished 9th, Everton did the double over us. They don't remember that. They don't remember that Everton won at Anfield. All right, during lockdown. And if you look at where Everton are now compared to what he's done, he deserves a medal. Because look at Everton now, 9th. Where have they been since he's gone? How many times have they tried to fight relegation since that man's gone? How many times have they had points deducted since this guy's gone? Look at the players that he actually attracted. But Arsenal fans don't hear. The same with Unai Emery. Because Aaron Emery wasn't given a chance at Arsenal because he couldn't do, and it didn't work out. And they talk about the 32 shots against Watford, even though we drew the game, we didn't lose the game. We drew it 2-0 up. We lost the game, but let's not let the truth get in the way of a good story. But that's what it is. Because he didn't do it at Arsenal, he's a crap manager, and he's not as good as Arteta. and they will say things, well, it's a wrong time, and that he lost the dressing room, and he didn't sight defence. Mikel's Mikel's turned the club inside out and into great things, and to them that's as good as a trophy. And then what they'll do is, Emery's won the Europa League, he didn't win the big ones. So when you tell them, well, Emery got Villarreal to the semi-final Champions League, beating some of the biggest teams in there, they want to know. And that's the thing. And then they'll question your loyalty because you're not backing Mick Arteta, because you know how some fans are. Oh, he's wearing a shirt. He's in a dugout. You've got to back him. That's their mentality. The fact is, Unai Emery has ultimate respect from all across the world. He gets respect in Italy, Germany, and Spain. It's only in England, because in England, and only at Arsenal, because Arsenal, unfortunately, football club is like fans of the Premier League. They think their pepper sauce is the best, and everyone's pepper sauce is the worst. If you can't do it at Arsenal, you're a rubbish manager. And it just shows you that a lot of these people don't know anything about football. It's all about supporting the player and the manager above the football club. The fact is, a lot of Pitt fans should be concerned about our lack of trophies. Even the players must be concerned that we don't win anything. You think about it. They're working in that sort. They're actually now challenging. It's got to bother them. And all I'm saying is until Mick Arteta wins the trophies that a club our size wins, then we can say, all right, well done, mate. And that's the thing. You've got to have something to show for all these things that you're saying that Mikel does really well. And if you want to call Saka world class, or call these other players world class, they've got to have the stripes. They've got to have the stars above here. They've got to win something big. Because reason why we talk about Henry, Perez, Petit, Vieira, Adams, Bold, Keon, all that. All those players, because they won things. They won things. You can't compare any of our players to them. You're mad. Comparing our defence, who was a very good defence, to those guys. No, win the trophies, then we have a discussion, and then we can start comparing you to the other era. Same Mikel, win something. Win something. You can't discredit Unai Emery because it doesn't suit your agenda. Suit your agenda. Next thing they're going to accuse all four of us of wanting Villa to beat Arsenal because we love Ian Emery more than the club. That's what I think deep down I think we want to do. Not at all. We're Arsenal fans, but we're Arsenal fans who own the fact that we're the third biggest club in the country and that we should have the silverware to show for it. Big clubs win silverware. Big clubs, challenge every trophy going. I don't want to hear people saying, I'm not satisfied by the FA Cup and League Cup. But when it comes to the final, they're all doing watch-alongs. They're all, trying to scramble for tickets. You know what I mean? Tickets. And some of them will go sit in the opposition end so they can get in there, so they can go and do their interview. So don't give me those cups don't mean anything, because if they don't mean anything, don't watch the games. Don't do watch-alongs. Don't try and sneak the tickets, and don't do interviews after the game. That's the thing. The fact is, win something, and then we'll stop talking about Unai Emery. But don't expect us to go on Generation Z about Unai Emery when proper football fans and proper football people across the world respect this man as a top boss. It's no good saying, he didn't win at Paris. Yes, he did. He won things at Paris. He didn't do that well in the Champions League. Well, how many Paris coaches have won the Champions League? They've only got to one final since all that money's come in, PSG. So they moved the goalpost, but let's just be honest. You're Mick Arteta fans. Just say it. You think he's going to be the one you want him to do well, and that's it. Just be honest. You don't need 30 minutes to say that.
There's a couple here tonight, man. I mean, I just want to couple of good comments I want to highlight, man. From Joseph Connor Golden, mate. Thank you for your super chat. What do you make of our fans that say Rice world class? Cheers. I'm going to keep that comment there, mate, and I'm going to come back to that one. That is, and there's another starred comment I've got that I'm going to come back to before the end of the stream. And big up to Oregon Dow. Gift you 5 Arsenal and more memberships. If you've got a free membership for a month from Oregon Dow, please say thank you to him. He's always an absolute legend in the chat. Aaron, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure I don't normally go on that channel, but I had to watch that particular interview. I think it was an absolute joke, personally. I mean, how as an interviewer of the biggest Arsenal fan channel can you make such a bullshit statement like that? Arteta is better than Emery.
Well, I mean, I think it's hard to follow almost. Kenny absolutely knocked it out of the park, really. It's an absolute bullshit statement, really. It's also one of them questions or debates, however you want to call it. It depends almost what angle you look at it. And there's so many different sort of angles to go about it, you know. Emery's CV is obviously clearly so much better. If you go about it at the who was better at Arsenal, you know, you can't really do that because Emery weren't given time. Arteta has been given plenty of time. Emery weren't backed. Arteta has been back to the Hills. I mean, like Anthony said, I think it's knocking on about 800 mil or north of that, just south of that, either there. It's in the ballpark, you know. It's quite a sort of a difficult thing to sort of answer. Like I said, depending on what angle you go on. Essentially, it doesn't really bother me that much who's better. The one thing that does massively bother me is that Arsenal aren't winning anything. And like Kenny sort of said just before he left, you know, these sort of comparisons and everything like that are going to keep coming up until Arteta and Arsenal get over the line. There is absolutely no hiding it. And that's the sort of biggest concern. And what's another sort of concern is, you know, like we look at Man City now, you know, they're top dogs. They've won 6 of the last 7 Premier Leagues. They are this window, and I said it to you on Saturday, Jez. This is such a pivotal window for us, and they're already beating us, Man City. They're already ahead of us anyway. They've got Savio, and they've just got Gundogan. They've replaced Gundogan with Gundogan. That is a much better window than Calafiori and Marino, who's 8 weeks and still ain't signed. He's still pending. That's the biggest sort of more the question that comes out of it. It's just a little bit frustrating, and you sit there and think, you know, you've got an opportunity here to close a gap, and you're not doing it. That's sort of the bigger question for me, and the bigger frustration than the Emery and Arteta debate. But I can understand why it's raised, and I can understand the comparisons, you know. But I think sometimes you've got just to look a bit closer to home. Sometimes you just think Arteta, he needs to sort it out. Something needs to happen. He's had long enough now. We should be we should be going for a 3-peat, shouldn't we? Come on, you know, we blew it in 2 seasons ago, and like Anthony said again, Aston Villa was a game we lost the season. All these clowns seem to absolutely delude themselves and thinking, it's gone to the last game of the season, so you know we're getting closer. Who actually? I know was in the stadium. I know you was as well, Ken. Was it who at Man City were going to lose to West Ham and we were going to win the league? I mean, come on, it's just a pretty little bow to tie it on, isn't it? It's just for the top gooners to make them feel better. We weren't going to win that league. We lost at Aston Villa, and yeah, I know I've slightly sort of swerved off the sort of topic, but yeah, you know, I think that's sort of more of a pressing question than the Emery thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's some couple of good comments here actually. I've got one here. Anthony, this one, mate. Emery says, Emery tried and failed at Arsenal. Have you forgotten?
Well, what did he fail?
Did he fail?
Well, he didn't fail. No, I don't think he failed. I mean, he wasn't backed, and with him not being backed, what can he do? I mean, we appointed the guy who's won most of the Europa League trophies. I think he's won about 7. Could possibly be a bit of 8 Europa Leagues in his career. Let's not forget he won PSG, the league. He was the manager that brought Neymar into PSG, right? That was Unai Emery. And then for this interviewer to turn around and thinks that Mikel Arteta is a better manager, and not just him, any Arsenal fans turn around and say Mikel Arteta is a better manager than Unai Emery, then I'm sorry. You have been watching the games we've been watching. That's that's all I can say on that, because it's like what I said. If he was that good, he would have won something by now, Mikel Arteta. You can't be the second best manager finishing second. I mean, all right, yeah, fine. He's not manager of West Ham now. I mean, I could have put Moisey in that equation. You know, he won Everton at FA Cup in the final, 1-0. Won West Ham, Europa League. He's won a European trophy. You know, there's that one. There's so many managers that was in the Premier League that was better than Arteta. Even you can, the list is endless. So for people to turn around and say, "Oh, he's the second best manager because Arsenal finished second in the league," that don't mean diddly squat. That means nothing. It don't make a difference if you finish. I mean, I could he be the second best? I'll tell you another one now. Ten Hag. This is his third season at Man United. He's won 2 trophies in 3 seasons. He's better than Mikel Arteta. Surely he's won trophies.
Yeah, but do you see? I was on a podcast yesterday, and they're looking down their nose at Ten Hag. But let's get it right. Ten Hag has brought silverware to a football club. Man United, you can look down at Ten Hag and say, yeah, they finished 8th in the league. But the fact is, Man United is the biggest club in the country. If they're not going to win the league or win in Europe, they've got to win a cup. That is the prerequisite. You know, let's not forget these Arsenal fans were did witness us going 9 years without a trophy. 9 years without a trophy, and some of the people who loved Arsenal Wenger so much, thought that because we're getting the Champions League every season during those 9 years of no silverware, that he was doing a good job, and they still to this day, you think that Arsene Wenger should have got a lifetime pass because of the success he had when he had great players. And the problem is, there's got Adam, he made a point. I don't know what his name is, but he actually admitted that the FA Cup was won with Unai Emery's team. But he said that Unai Emery wanted to trade Saka for Zaha. All right. At the time in 2019, when Unai Emery was looking for new players, did we know that Saka was going to turn out to be the player that he is now? No, we didn't, Adam. And you know that. Stop playing.
It's a gamble.
Don't play games. You know that. The fact is, at the time, Zaha was one of the most sought after players in English football. And that he was a first choice, but he was given Pepe instead of Zaha. Now, Adam don't want to admit this, but I didn't. I heard about Saka, but I never once thought that Saka was going to be the player I thought he was going to be. In fact, I saw Saka as at best a left back, best left winger. I didn't think he was going to turn out to be a player. So if Adam had the crystal ball in 2019, where he knew Saka was going to turn out to be the player he is now, then Adam, I want all your trades. I want all your secrets. I'm going to give up work now because I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to make a lot of money with your skills, mate.
And this Wednesday's lottery numbers and all.
Exactly, everything. Because Adam knew in 2019 that Saka was going to be one of the most sought after, best young players in the country, and could be pushing for one of the best young players in Europe. He knew that all in 2019, when Zaha was one of the most sought after players in 2019. So, Adam, send your secrets over to me. I'm quitting my job. I'm never going to have to work again. I'm going to be a very rich man.
True.
Mystic Meg's son. Eh?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's move this on a bit because there's a couple of other things I want to talk about. Unique says, Jez, I always said that there are internal forces that are holding our club back. Whichever way there is mediocrity everywhere. That's a point, mate. That is a very good point. SG, I love that badge, man. proper badge. It's not like Arteta's has a top 4 against Spurs or lost the league twice, got battered by Villa, win at our backyard since 1928. Yep. Got eliminated by Olympiacos, Villarreal, Sporting in Euros League. Well, that's not a great record, is it? Let's be fair. But, I see today, I don't want to talk about this Mourinho thing. It's just boring me to death, that is. Just goes on and it goes on. But apparently, Sky Sports today, we don't need a striker. We have an informed Havertz, right? 9 goals, 7 assists in 14 games. This is a guy called Sam Blitz, right? Right. We don't need a striker, guys. We have an informed guy in Havertz. Do we agree with that, Anthony?
Well, at the minute, Kai Havertz is better than what we've got up front. At the minute, better than Jesus, better than even Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah, you have to agree with it. You have to go with it,
But,
don't you?
Yeah, you've got to. You've got to go with it because we all knew that we need a striker. But I can't see one come. If Ivan Antonio leaves Brentford, what's wrong with doing a swap deal between him and Eddie Nketiah? Be honest. Because they need a striker. They would need a striker. He's not performing at Brentford at the minute, is he, Ivan Antonio? That's the reason why he didn't play over the weekend, because it's to do with the transfer business of him. That's the reason why he was left out the team. The manager said that before the game started. But obviously, whether he's going to come to us or whether he's going to go over to Saudi, I don't know. But if he goes over to Saudi, then who we got? Who we going to get? Because everybody's saying about, is it Gokri or whatever his name is? It plays for Sporting. Gokrez, yeah. They're on about him, around about, I think now he's been reduced to around about 65 million or something like that.
Hang on a minute. We've got 8 days to go.
Yeah.
We can't get a deal done in 2 months, right? It took 2 months to get Calafiori. 2 months. And we're still peeing about, still messing about with apparently, deal's done. This is what other YouTubers keep telling me. Deal's done. Oh, he's arriving in London. Oh, the president of whatever the bloody clubs now, I've forgot the name of them now, is in London. Where is all this ball coming from? Because if we can't get a deal done in 2 months, how the hell are we going to get that deal done in 8 days? Sorry, go on, Andy.
Do you know what the worrying thing is? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you down, mate.
No, that's fine, mate. It's just something stupid. That's all. It's something that starts a bullshit rumor, and then it gets escalated, and then it gets put on there on YouTube. Apparently, what's his name? Fabrizio Romano, or it is now his sources. When he gets something right, he normally gets it right at least 95% of the time. But but sources come out for him saying that he's already signed. This Mourinho guy. But we haven't seen nothing. We haven't seen nothing at all. So, in all fairness, I did say this, Jez, right? If we do not sign a striker, Kai Havertz is going to be our main striker so far up until January, right? Because that's the reason for it, right? And also, I think with the left back situation, once we start playing our new signing or Timber there, we don't sign a midfielder. Yeah, I'm telling you now, Zinni is going to be going up and playing in our midfield.
Yeah, great. But who's okay? That's a good argument. Debate that one, Aaron. Let's move on to that one. I mean, this Mourinho deal it's boring, isn't it? It just goes on and on and on and on and on.
Never known anything so tedious in my life. It's just painful now, isn't it? Saying his name. You almost hate him before he's even come in the door. Do you know what I mean? I'm almost sick and tired of hearing it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. It's dragged on for so long. But you know what the real big worry about this is? And it's all to do with whether we have to sell to buy. And that is a massive worry. And by that, I mean, you look at the ESR and the Calafiori deals. ESR goes, that drags a little bit. Calafiori, that drags. But as soon as the SR goes, Calafiori comes in. And it's almost, you can sort of see parallels with this Mourinho and the Eddie Nketiah deal. And the problem is, 2 weeks ago, we could have just accepted a 25, 27 million euros, English, whatever the hell it is. We could have then, if this is the case and we have to sell before we buy, we've just lost ourselves 2 weeks in a window, and at that time, there was only about 3 or 4 weeks left. So we've just absolutely wasted about 75% of the remaining time of the window, scraping over about 2 or 3 million for Eddie Nketiah. Now, the problem is that we sort of find now is that, we've left ourselves a little bit short. The longer it's sort of like gone in there, now you look at Sociedad, they're going, originally they wanted 25, now they want 30, now they want 35, now they want 40. Xhaka went for 25 million quid. Do you know what I mean? With a season left on his deal. This Mourinho geezer, I'm not going to pretend to know that I know much about him at all. I don't watch Sociedad. But he's not worth more than 25 million either. If Xhaka ain't, then neither is he with a year left on his deal. It's just sort of worrying, and by that sort of, I mean, with the transfers is, where's the money gone? You look at the transfers out, right? So you've got, let's just assume the Eddie Nketiah and Mourinho deals, they all go through, yeah? You're going to get about 55 million for ESR and about, 3 ESR, and Eddie combined. But also, and I've written this down, so bear with me. You've got Brook Norton-Cuffy that's gone for 2 million. Charlie Patino, who's sold for 1 million now. I mean, he's on the cusp of leaving for Deportivo for 1 million. How the hell has he only gone for 1 million? Another conversation. Mika Biref went for 4 million. Tavares went for 7 million, albeit loan obligation. The Conga's gone for 1 million with a potential as a 3 million option to sign. Amari Hutchinson, we got about 5 million quid for that deal on the clause, I think, with Chelsea. We've made about 75, 80 million in sales. And what I can't sort of really more understand is, over the last few seasons, we've also dramatically reduced the wage bill, considering about 5 sort of years ago. So we've reduced that, Fly Emirates and Adidas deals, they've gone that way. We've renamed our training ground and sold that, to Sober Realty. Also, the Europa League seasons and the No Europe seasons, they've come off the books. The Champions League 2 times seasons, they've come onto the books. Where the fucking hell's the money? Why do we have to sell to buy? That's the real question that we need to start asking is, where has all the fucking money gone? Why are we not able to sign players? That's worrying.
It's a good point, mate. It's a very good point. Kenny,
So to answer Aaron's point, where the money's gone? Players' wages. Players' wages, and increase. You think about it. Saka's had an improved contract. Havertz came to us in 280. Thomas Partey's on high wages. Odegaard's had a wage increase. You look at our wage bill is stinking high. That's what.
But it was also stinking high. Years ago we had 350 with Ozil and Aubameyangs and Socrates. They were all on over 100 and all. Yeah,
but I think another thing as well. The club are always gonna, because we spent. You think about it. We spent about, if you include the goalkeeper, who if you take this year's budget onto last year's, we probably spent well in advance of £200 million. This season, this transfer window was always going to be about balancing the books because of that, the PSR, that you can't have debts of over £105 million, and that's what it's always going to be. But as I said before, if you buy players who are backup players, then you're not going to get them out the door. If you buy assets, and that asset says, you know what, you ain't won nothing, we're going to go Real Madrid. You know now that asset is highly likely that Real Madrid will meet your asking price. That asset will agree to leave, 1, because he wants to win trophies, and 2, he's increasing his salary. Now, if you've got backup players like Eddie Nketiah, and he's a backup player, and he's on 100 grand a week.
Yeah, that's fuck that. Same with Nelson.
You've got people like, you've got Crystal Palace, and not the Forest coming on him. Now, let me just know, if you're Mateta and Chris Wood, or was it who the other forward in Nigeria, the Nigerian guy, massive geezer, get his name out. You're not quaking your boots if Eddie Nketiah's coming because he doesn't score goals. But you now have to pay Eddie Nketiah, an Arsenal backup player. You got to match his salary. That's not going to happen. And that's what Arsenal have always done. Stop trying to get backup players. Get the best players available and let them fight for a place. Because when you try to sell them, you get big money for them. Now, for instance, Fabio Vieira,
I was just
Arteta's
going to say,
desperate to get him in his team. He's desperate. He just can't get in his team. You know, he's not strong enough. But moving forward, that's a player that you really wants to get the team. You'll get money for Fabio Vieira because he's still reasonably thought of in other countries, so we'll get money for him. He's not going to be an issue. His wages won't be a problem either. Well, you've got Eddie Nketiah, got Reece Nelson, Aaron Ramsdale, 128 grand a week. And then, you know, he needs to play for him, so you're going to go to Wolves. A goalkeeper is going to be the highest paid player at Wolves. We've got ourselves in such a situation where our mentality has to be, and that goes to Mikel Edu, stop signing backup players. Like, for instance, if you're going to get this Marino guy, and it looks like we are going to get him, he's got to be pushing for that first team if he's not starting. That way, if it doesn't work out, we could always recoup our money back. And that is the main problem. The money's there, but the money can't be spent because of the fact that when we spent massive amounts of money. In fact, every season, like since Arteta's been at the club, we've spent big, big. If we spend what we want to spend this season, he's probably going to, by the end of 2025, we'll probably be near the £1 billion mark. Now, so far today, he ain't won nothing. So you can imagine the amount of money this guy's got without winning anything in 4 years. So that's the thing. That's where the money's gone. It's always going to be, any football club will tell you, player salaries is one of the biggest killers. Hence the fact your season ticket prices are going to go up. Hence the fact they're going to want more. Yeah, which they have. And hence the fact that you're going to have more and more tours abroad. Instead of Arsenal playing Stevenage or Barnet, they're going to be playing abroad in a Premier League tournament, so they can help the Premier League make the money, and they can make their money. And obviously, the TV deals are going to be paramount. So, for instance, this is what's going to be coming, right? You ain't going to like this, but I tell you now, expect to see more and more games at 7:45 at 8 o'clock in the evening, because the Premier League are going to want that Spanish market and the Italian market, because they always play evening games. And the Americans, who are now the most important fan base in football, they're going to want to be having their beers, going to their bars at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, getting it to catch a game in England. So football sold its soul, but the reason why football has to sell its soul, players' wages.
Fact. That's a whole other show. We could talk about that. Warren talked about this the other day. It's a very interesting show he did with Kyle about Arsenal becoming the LA Cannons. I beg your pardon. That is something in itself. But Unique 79 question panel: if we sell Nketiah, if we do not sign a striker, and if Hazard gets injured, then what? Do we play Jesus up front with a history of knee injuries? Do we play Martinelli? Now, that's something I was going to bring this up. Last year, when we were going well, Arteta with Havertz, right? Yeah, he'd scored 4 goals, 4 assists in 6 games. Right? Decent stats. You can't argue with that. Right? He then put him back in midfield and stuck Jesus up front, who hadn't scored a goal in 2.5 months. That, to me, is where the issues are. That is the problem. Anthony, that is a danger, I think, with the naivety, if you want to call it that, from Arteta.
Yeah, it sounds it. And it makes you think, if that's the case, then we've just been talking about players coming in, the money and wages. What's going to happen with this team? He's going to have to jump on the team up. So it's like what I said with Jesus. In all fairness, could we have Jesus as a backup for Saka? So Eddie Nketiah, just don't worry about a midfielder. Just bring in that 20-goal striker. That we're all asking for. Seriously.
Yeah. Jesus actually started, didn't he? And the Man City 1-0 win last season. I think he had a really good game and all that sort of day. He's really made for that position. I get your point.
He did play.
You know,
he did play for Saka.
Yeah. But I mean, there's options there. I think there was a couple of times where he played Martinelli up front when he first come in. I think Emery did. I think in the Europa League games as well. He was there, but that was when Martinelli was in form, and we touched about it earlier in the show, Jez. That was when we had Chiarantini playing at left back. Do you know what I mean? So there is stuff that you can actually do with this. I tell you what, now if Mikel Arteta went today and we had a top manager in, an elite manager, I guarantee you he can win us trophies with this team that we've already got. I reckon he will. Carabao Cup, FA Cup. All right, he might not win the Premier League, but it's still trophies. And through that, we're gradually seeing an improvement going along. Because we're not seeing an improvement going on just finishing second every season. Because we're the only team at the minute that can compete with Man City. No other team can at the minute. I mean, I don't think Liverpool's going to do that great. I mean, all right, they scored 2 goals and kept a clean sheet against Ipswich, but 2-0 over Ipswich. I personally thought that was a bit poor. I was expecting a game of like 3 or 4-0 to Liverpool.
Half time, it was like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, Man City, they've got Ipswich this weekend. I mean, I'm on a show after this, on our show. We're going to do a prediction. My prediction, I'm putting 5-0 Man City, against Ipswich. And that I am. But in all fairness, it's like what I said. We need something. We need something fast. So, in other words, I won't worry about that midfielder. Put Jesus into backup. It's like what we said. If we're worried about wages, back up for Saka, and get our 20-goal striker. And that's what we need, Jess. Because I think a striker is more of a priority than a midfielder.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. We ain't going to get one. We ain't going to get one, man. Question, very good. I come to Aaron. I'm going to come to you, then I'll come to Kenny with this, man. This is a question. Very good question, I think. Vic says, Jess and panel, can I ask, how have Liverpool competed recently with a 47,000 approx stadium? We have a 60,000 for 20 years, but the money seems to vanish when we need to add to the squad.
Well, I mean, for a start, Liverpool are a bigger club than Arsenal, aren't they? They'll always have slightly more income, or maybe even vastly more income. They are a significantly bigger club than us, I think. Well, not significantly. That might be a little bit too heavy. But yeah, I mean, in terms of their players, they signed players at the right time, didn't they? They got good deals. Mane and Salah come in for like 30-odd million, and they absolutely revolutionised their defence. Their wings. And then they made correct signings. It's all about making correct signings. They sold Coutinho when Barcelona were cash ready for like 140, 150 million and invested it in one of the best goalies the Premier League's in and one of the best centre-backs the Premier League's in. It's just smart recruitment. Their setup was correct. They had one of the best managers, a ready-made manager in Jurgen Klopp, We haven't got that. We've got a geezer that come in and was learning on the job, all right, he's been backed, but, there's signings sort of like Kenny was saying, and I've wanted to bring it up, like with the Vieiras, 30, 40 million quid on them geezers, buying all these little squad fillers and things like that. Man, you need to start working on the starting 11 before you start working on your squad. And we're sort of suffering it for now, But yeah, it's a little bit annoying to see, how Liverpool didn't spend sort of as much and they had that sustained period. All right, they only won 1 Premier League in that time, but they was facing the Man City side or whatever. They won a Champions League there. They won everything, didn't they? And yeah, it's a little bit frustrating, but their system in place that they had, they was far superior to the one that we've got at the minute. It's as simple as that.
Well, here's a question for you, Kenny, and this alludes to a point that I was just mentioning. Now says, honestly, if we were to change these football times, for him that's a 12 p.m. kickoff in the United States. That could be a nail in the coffin in the fact that this is where Arsenal are going, in the fact that they're catering to the American market.
They have to. But it does. The fact is, I'll say it once for the times, you can't charge TV companies millions and millions of pounds over a mate. You always negotiate a contract. But say you're asking NBC to pay you over 3 years, £300 million. What's NBC going to get for their money? You can't charge NBC £308 million, £300 million over 3 years. All right, so I don't know the figures. It's just coming out of a ballpark figure. And then what NBC going to get for their money? They're going to want the advertisers to buy into the program. Plus, they're going to want their viewers to be watching the games. They're going to be wanting their viewers getting up about 6 o'clock in the morning to watch games. They're going to want the games at reasonable times. Hence the fact, so the 5:30 kickoff is again has to be there because you've got to cater for all your. We're not. Our football fans don't just watch football in the UK. They're watching Australia. They're watching Africa. The African times are very, especially in West Africa, are very similar to England. But in South Africa, it's a bit different. Obviously, you've got fans in the West Indies. You've got fans in the Far East. You've got fans in South Asia. You've got fans in I've mentioned Australia, but it's the US market, and obviously that they want to crack. So I say it now. If you've got to give them something, you've got to give. The Premier League has to, give these guys reasonable time. So when they do show these matches, they get massive viewing figures. Because if they don't get massive viewing figures, then what's going to happen is that they're going to think they're not going to get value for money for what they paid for. The other thing as well, they're not just paying for the exclusive 3 p.m. kickoffs. They're paying for eventually two things, i.e. trying to get us to play games more games at 7:45 and 8 o'clock, because obviously if you're in New York, East Coast, those games are going to be on about that game is going to be at 3 o'clock so that's good. That's good viewing figures for NBC, and obviously where Dow is in Oregon midday. So again, it's all about scratch people's back. And then you've got the Australian market. I suppose the 12:30 kickoff works for the Australian market. So a weekend, watch the game at midnight, go to bed early. You ain't got work the next day, so that works. So they're covering everything. But I think another thing as well is that the 39th game, highly likely is going to be in the USA. So again, the Premier League will sell out. Well, it won't be a sellout for our fans across in the USA. But if you're someone like me and Aaron, you guys are go to games, or we're traditionalists, English football should be played. All the games should be played in English stadiums.
Yep.
And the 39th game should be in America. But the way football's moving, and the way players want more of this, it's going to go that way. So again, what these guys in NBC are paying for is that they know that if the 39th game comes to America and they have loads of Premiership games, all across some of the stadiums, they're going to smash it.
Of course they are.
Let's hope that don't happen.
This alludes to a point.
Never say never, Aaron. Never say never in football. Everyone's got it. Football's its price.
Would you be happy?
That's worrying.
I mean, as an Arsenal fan, you go every home game, right, and some away games, right? Yeah. This discussion, and Warren was talking about this, that he predicts that what will happen is we'll end up having games played in the States, Premier League games played in the States. Now that's a debate for a whole different show, right? And I don't want to pick his pocket on his what he was talking about, but we're looking at a dangerous road here, a very dangerous road, where if that happens, that is the end of the English game to me. But I don't want to talk about that now because that's a whole nother show. But question very quickly before we wrap this up, because I know everybody's got things to do, but Charlie Patino, right? One of our apparently best academy players, spotted about one of the best, could be off for £1 million to Deportivo La Coruna. Corona.
Brilliant move for the guy. Brilliant move for him. Brilliant move for him. But I look at it this way. You know, charge for anything is no one's fault. If you're an academy player and you any of the top English clubs, it's highly likely your pathway to the first team. It's almost impossible, mate. It is possible because Saka made it, Smith Rowe made it, and you know Conor Gallagher made it at Chelsea up to a point. And obviously, you know, you got John Terry and players like that. But to be honest, look at Charlie Patino in the position he plays. I can think of about 5 or 6 players who will play instead of him. He's not going to get a game. He won't even get a game in the League Cup. So, you know, for his career, he's got to go to Spain where, you know, who knows, he can go to Spain, smash it, and then come back. You know, there has to be situations where his style of play, where he likes to be on the ball, you know, he's a good passer of the ball and he plays with a bit of flair. There's no room for players like that in this country. He has to go to Spain where they'll appreciate him and he'll get first team football. La Coruña, don't know what are they in the La Liga?
They just got promoted. They've just got
promoted.
So
they just got promoted. Yeah. He's getting game time. Yeah, because remember back in the day, La Coruña used to get the Champions League semi-finals all the time. Obviously, they ran out of money and it came back a bit. But as I said before, big move to the guy. You know, if you're an academy player and you survive and get near the first team, that's an achievement itself. You just assume that even if you make it and get a professional contract, you'll have to go to another club if you're at a big club.
I agree with what you're saying, Kenny. Totally. Do you think we should have got more than $1 million from though?
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Not loads more. Let's get it right. But
yeah, I don't see why not. Because he has played some football, obviously, especially you know, and he has got a portfolio of games. But again, it's Arsenal. You just get him out, or they think they're going to do the guy a favour. So if the guy's desperate to go, he knows he's going to get first team football. I suppose you do the guy a favour and say, look, we aren't asked for that money for you. That way, you can get your move, you know, and get on your career. I think that's what we've done. We've done him a favour. Oh yeah, Diego Tristan, the true spy. I remember him.
What a striker!
Yeah, great player.
Right, yeah. I mean, I just find it weird, man, what goes on at this club. But we're going to wrap it up, people. Aaron, as always, mate, thank you for coming on. I hope you'll be a regular coming on when you want to.
Absolutely, mate.
Pleasure having you on, as always. Shout out your socials. Did you say the other day you might be starting a channel up?
Yeah, 100%. I'm sort of trying to come on a few of these sort of first. One, like I said, I just sort of want to see if I like it before I start, you know, 100% going into anything, you know. Come on a couple of channels, you know. If people like me, wicked. If they don't, like I said, I'll definitely do a channel if they don't like me, you know, to piss a few people off. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I quite like that. But yeah, you know, as opposed to socials, you know, I'm on Instagram, Arsenal X-rated, but you know, we're only just sort of starting, so there's no real sort of anything on there at the minute. Still sort of getting to the gist of it. On YouTube, I actually have got a channel live. There's nothing on there again. You know, I'm literally just getting to the start of it. It's Arsenal X-rated again. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you know what I mean? I'll have a little look. I'll have a little go. Something's in the pipeline, you know. I just want to make sure it's 100% for me before I 100% go into it. But you know, if you keep inviting me on, I'll keep coming on, Jez. I love going on the channel and I respect the fact that, you know, you give me an opportunity, mate. Appreciate it.
You're always welcome. You talk the facts, you talk sense. You're natural at doing it, so fair play to you, bro. And there we go. Anthony, are you going live soon, I think, are you tonight?
Yeah, we're going live tonight on Early Doors, the good, the bad, the ugly. That starts at past 8. So we're going to be talking about Arsenal, Man United and West Ham. Doing the predictions and that. So hopefully, it's always fun doing that show anyway. So, you know, tune in.
Yeah, it's always a good stream, man. Kenny, Thanks for coming, as always, back with the regular Wednesday night show.
It's appropriate to have it. The football season started. Aaron, really nice to meet you. Hopefully we do some work together. Anthony, always loved doing work with you, so we do some work together. But, this season, as much as we like to talk about transfers, we've got something bigger than that, Aston Villa, because this is where our pursuit of the title starts. If you want to win a title, you've got to win at Villa Park. You've got to win. Doesn't matter how you do it, you've got to win. Because that's a tough away game. But hopefully it will catch them cold. I'm sure they'll be really confident. But Emery's not a fool, mate. He's going to set them up to make them difficult to beat.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Kenny, shout yourself out on Insta, man.
I'm at Ken 1972 on Instagram. Twitter is just a cesspit of filth.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be tomorrow night on with the young lady Soph, doing a gossip. First time I've been on that show, and then I'm going to do another show after that, probably at 9 o'clock, which will be about who actually runs Arsenal. I'm going to do some digging and delving into what goes on at Arsenal, who are the people behind the scenes, and where's the money, So I'm going to do that, and then
I wish it was Jez Collins that was in charge of Arsenal.
So do I. money. And then
our new Peter Hillwood.
Yes.
Oh God.
It'll be a different
There's no money being spent.
yeah. I'll give you that.
That'd be the knock. And then Friday night, I'm on the American Idiot Show with TJ and Dow. And I'm doing a watch along on Saturday. I'm doing lots of stuff now. I'm going to try and do a show every day from now on, if I can.
Yes.
Just because I want to. And
you love it, yes. You love it.
I do love it, actually. It's good fun. I'll only do a show if I've got something to talk about. I'm not going to sit here and just waffle bullshit. That's it. But yeah, most people. Go on.
Well, you don't do like shows about Marino every day, do you?
No. Oh, mate, honestly, come on. Well, mate, let's be honest, mate. This could be the same as the Draxler deal. That's been going on for about 8 years.
And then some.
Yeah.
Well, he can't knock it. He has got some big moves, Julian Draxler. Can't knock
he
it.
didn't come to Arsenal, did he? You know what I mean? And we were that went on forever and a day.
Probably had air when we were linked for him at the first, weren't we?
Yeah.
I probably did, actually. I probably had a long yeah, more than likely, bros. Anyway, people, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks to Dale for giving out memberships. Aaron, pleasure having you on, my friend, and I'll be inviting you back again very soon. And Anthony, as always, a legend in the house. Mama, as always, top mod. Thanks, Jez, Aaron, Kenny, Anthony.
Thank you, Mama.
As always, Danny, you're an absolute top man, you are. Kenny, thank you always. The game's going to be a big one at the weekend, Kenny. We know that. And
massive.
Hey, I tell you what, very quickly before we go, Anthony, prediction for the game.
2-2.
2-2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Aaron, what do you think, man?
Zinchenko starts 1-1 or 1-0 loss. If he doesn't start, 2-1 win.
Okay. Kenny, what do you think, man?
You know what? I think it's going to be a battle, man. I think it's going to be 1-0. It could be either way, but I like it. I think it'll be 1-0 to us, but don't be surprised if it's 1-0 to them. But, we're going to come off this pitch dripping in sweat because they're going to give it. But if we catch them cold, we can do them. We've got a better team than them. They have. They're a good team. We're better.
Yeah.
Show what we're about. Isn't it? Show what we're about. It's a great little game, actually. For it to be number 2. You can really get to see what we want. They always go on about on their little websites and their little chats about desire and their hunger and that. Well, now go to Villa Park, game match 2. You know what I mean? And go and beat them. Go and beat Unai Emery for the first time in 6 games or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Show it. Do it.
I'm going 1-0 Arsenal. I'm positive. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight, but I like it when a team fights, to be honest with you. So that's my prediction. Anyway, I'm going to do the outro, everyone. Thanks, everybody, for joining. And it's been a great show. Thank you, Aaron, Anthony, Kenny, as always. And we're out of here. And take care. And come on the arse at the weekend.